We're looking at the World Series this year with the great pitchers in the starting rotation and the relief corps for the Dodgers and the Yankees. Obviously, both teams have had great pitchers over the years. But today we're not going to be talking about that, but maybe something that caused all this to happen. This is probably considered baseball's first superstar long before there was Major League Baseball. And he basically invented a way to combine the best aspects of cricket and baseball in his pitching style. So today we're going to be talking about Jim Creighton Jr. This American baseball player took the field during the game's amateur era and is considered by historians to be the sport's first superstar and is one of his earliest paid competitors. In 1860 and 1862, he played for one of the most dominant teams of the era, the Excelsior of Brooklyn. He's also reputed to be a superb cricketer and played in many amateur and professional cricket matches. Now, during this early pre-pro period of baseball's evolution, Creighton's pitching technique changed the sport from a game that showcased hitting, running, and fielding into a confrontation between the batter and the pitcher. Under rules of the day, a pitcher was required to deliver the ball in an underhand motion with a stiff arm, stiff wrist movement. The intention was to induce the batter to swing and put the ball in play, thus initiating action on the diamond. Creighton's swift delivery was difficult for opposing batters to hit because they were accustomed to balls being lobbed over the plate. The speed at which Creighton was able to hurl the ball had previously been considered impossible without movement of the elbow or wrist, which was prohibited by existing rules. If there were any such movements by Creighton, they were imperceptible. Nonetheless, he was accused by some opponents and spectators of using an illegal delivery. In effect, because Creighton was exceptionally successful, his opponents assumed he was cheating. Now, he played 3 seasons with the Excelsior. Now, the competitive advantage of this delivery and success as a pitcher eventually led others to emulate his technique. Historian Thomas Gilbert, in his 2015 book, Playing First, Early Baseball Lives at Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery, which includes a chapter on Creighton and his extended family, referred to his pitching style as weaponizing the ball. In October 1962, at the height of his popularity, he suffered a ruptured abdominal hernia, a condition possibly caused and exacerbated by his unorthodox pitching motion and high per-game pitch counts. The rupture caused internal bleeding, and Creighton died 4 days later. Now, born in 1941 in Manhattan to James and Jane Creighton, he was raised in Brooklyn. By age 16, he was become recognized in the Brooklyn area for his batting skills in both baseball and cricket. In 1857, along with other neighborhood youths, he formed a local baseball club called Young America. Now, during this period, there was no organized leagues and few competing teams, so amateur clubs spent most of the time practicing and playing intra-squad games with occasional matches against rivals. Young America played a few match games before disbanding. Creighton then became a member of Niagara Brooklyn, playing second base. Now, in a match on June 19, 1859, the Niagaras were being heavily outscored by the Star Club of Brooklyn. Creighton, who had thus far been used by the team primarily infield, was brought on as a substitute pitcher. Using what observers describe as a low, swift delivery, Creighton achieved uncommonly swift velocity. With the balls rising from the ground past the shoulder of the catcher, the star batsman was unable to hit them effectively. Under the rules of baseball at the time, the pitcher was required to deliver the ball underhand with arm locked straight to the elbow and the wrists. Another technique he used was to give the baseball spinning motion, making it harder for batters to hit it squarely. Additionally, he threw a high-arching slower pitch called a dewdrop. It was the job of the pitcher to make it easy for the batter to hit the ball, as fielding was considered the game's true skill. Star batsman claimed that Creighton was using an illegal snap to the wrists to deliver the pitch. The Star Club eventually won the contest, but following the match, he left the Niagaras to join the Stars. Now, before the 1860 season began, Creighton left the Star Club and joined the Excelsior of Boston, one of the highest-profile teams in the game at the time. With their new star pitcher, the Excelsiors became a national sensation. They organized the first known baseball tour outside of their home region, taking on teams along the east coast of the states. That season, Creighton scored 47 runs in 20 match games and was retired just 56 times and did not strike out. In the game against the St. George Cricket Club on November 8, he recorded baseball for a shutout. In addition to his pitching skills, he became the game's best batter. In 1862, he batted 1,000, getting hits in all 65 of his at-bats. Now, the Excelsior did not play in 1861, as many players had left to fight in the Civil War. Now, while observing Creighton bowling in a cricket match, English cricketer Johnny Lillywhite commented, "Why that man is not bowling? He is throwing underhanded. He's the best disguised underhand throwing I ever saw. It might readily be taken for a fair delivery." Now, during this era of baseball, the game was an amateur sport, and clubs served as service social organizations with sporting activities rather than strictly sports alliances. Creighton was described as principled, unassuming, and gentlemanly, traits considered ideal during the amateur era. However, rumors circulated that clubs had started paying exceptional players under the table. Now, in 1860, the Excelsior lured Creighton along with teammates George Flanley and brothers Asa and Henry Brainerd. All but Henry Brainerd were quietly paid a salary, with Creighton earning $500, thus making most men of the championship early pro baseball players. After winning the National Association title in 1860, Creighton and Asa Brainerd jumped from the Excelsior Club to the Atlantic Club of Brooklyn. This move lasted only 3 weeks, and without having played any games, both players returned to the Excelsiors. While the practice of pay-for-play unofficially spread throughout baseball in the coming years, open professionalism didn't begin until 1869 with the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Now, Creighton was also considered a prominent member of the cricket community, playing both amateur and pro. He performed for the American Cricket Club in 1861 and 62, often playing against the All-England team, whether at Hoboken's Iceland Fields or elsewhere. Though the English teams would dominate these matches, Creighton fared well. In an 1859 match of 11 Englishmen against 16 Americans, he clean bowled 5 wickets out of 6 successive balls. Now, unfortunately, there was some historical controversy about the circumstances of his death. On October 14, 1962, he played second base in a match at Excelsior grounds against the Union of Morrisania Club while Brainerd pitched. Creighton had allegedly hit 4 doubles and 4 at-bats during his first 5 innings. As chronicled 50 years later by witness to the game, Jack Chapman, Creighton took over pitching duties from Brainerd in his 6th, and his next at-bat he hit a home run. While swinging the bat, he allegedly suffered an injury in his abdominal area. According to Chapman, when Creighton crossed home plate, he commented to the next batter, George Flaney, that he heard something snap. After the game, he began to experience severe pain and hemorrhaging in his abdomen. He died in his father's home on October 18th at the age of 21. In the 1887 issue of the early sports newspaper, The Sporting Life, a letter writer who signed only his old-timer sent in his account of the event. This account reported it was a ruptured bladder. In the light of modern medical understanding, the injury was most likely a ruptured inguinal hernia. However, subsequent research indicates that Creighton's death by hitting a home run was fabricated years later to dramatize his martyrdom. Now, when he had crossed the rubber, some people heard he turned to George Flaney and said, "I must have snapped my belt." Countless historians have refuted this legend, and it's taken root as factual. Now, Creighton's death did cause concern in the sports world that public perception of baseball and cricket would focus on the inherent dangers of their play, hurting the sport's popularity. Though it is generally accepted that Creighton fatally injured himself by playing baseball, it was reported that Excelsior president Dr. Joseph Jones made comments during the National Association Convention of 1962 that attempted to correct the notion. He claimed that Creighton had suffered the injury instead while playing cricket in a match on October 7th. Later research claims that Dr. Jones' assertions are correct. Creighton had died of a strangulated intestine and did not hit a home run during his final game. Now, Creighton is buried in Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery, and his gravesite was marked by a 12-foot marble obelisk crowned with a large marble baseball. Now, according to John Thorne, his book, Baseball in the Garden of Eden, The Secret History of the Early Game, Creighton was baseball's first hero and I believe the most important player not inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, my good friend Ryan Thompson probably was going to request this, but it's kind of interesting. He was so known by baseball fans. In the television series The Simpsons, it made reference to Creighton in the season 3 episode Homer at the Bat, where Mr. Burns has him pegged as a right fielder for the company's softball team. His assistant Smithers has to point out that all players Mr. Burns had been selected are long dead, making reference in particular to Creighton by saying, in fact, your right fielder has been dead for 130 years. So Creighton, ladies and gentlemen, what a player. I think basically, however he died and whatever that he was doing, what he loved, and it set up the basis of baseball, because cricket and baseball, like the hard throwers, in both cricket and baseball owed a lot to Creighton because he was the one that basically said, let's just not make it a standard play. Let's put some speed on it. So again, James Creighton or Jim Creighton, what a baseball player. So our good friend of the channel, Ryan Thompson, this is for you. I knew you were probably going to request it, so I got it ahead of time. So you watch the World Series tonight, just remember that the guy that invented the fast pitch or perfected it or whatever you want to call it, Jim Creighton, that's nearly 182 years ago, give or take. And I would have done something on him last week, but I couldn't find enough information for press time before the World Series. But like I said, what a great star, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our Vintage Baseball Podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.